Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and this is the August 2012 water cooler, which is our affectionate name for the Tabs3 PracticeMaster virtual user group. Today, we are going to show you everything that's new in version 16.2. Now, 16.2 is not out yet, and if you would like to get any of these features immediately, STI is looking for people to be in the final phase of beta testing. It's been in beta testing for about, Mary Jo, 4 or 5 months, and they've got a need to test a couple things in certain unique situations. So anybody that wants can get version 16.2 simply by signing up as a beta tester. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to run through the What's New list, the pre-published What's New list for everything in version 16.2, and we're going to cover certain things in less detail than we would like. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to let everyone know exactly what's in version 16.2, and then there are certain features that we're going to take and dissect in a little bit further detail when we get to other virtual user group meetings. So one of those, for instance, is Tabs3 Connect. We'll probably spend at least half of another virtual user group meeting going over that. Another would be the accounts receivable report by Working Timekeeper. We'll probably spend a little bit of time going over that. Now, I don't know if I have my handy-dandy little thing here, so we're going to go find it. And while we are, I'm going to tell you that over on the right-hand side of your screen, you have something that looks like a little box that's jutting out. It's your control panel for GoToMeeting. And it looks like, oh, it's got a little, and I can't find this, so I'm just going to describe it. It's got a little set of icons that jut off to the left. And the top of those icons is an arrow that points to the left or to the right. When it's pointing to the right, that means it will collapse the bigger box that's taking up part of your screen on the right. And when it does that, that arrow turns into an icon that points to the left, and that means that you can bring that box back into focus. Bringing that box back into focus is how you do things like type a question that Leanne will see and will bring to our attention so that we can get it answered. Or there's also an icon that shows up in that little row of icons that looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upward in front of it. That means raise your hand. So if you raise your hand, then we will actually wait until we get to a point where we can interrupt, and we will unmute you and let you ask your question and make sure it gets answered, and then mute you back up so that you can keep eating lunch. So without any further ado, we are going to start with Mary Jo, and she's going to talk about the Timekeeper file in version 16.2. Mary Jo?
Okay, I'm going to start with what's new here. In the Timekeeper file, we now have the ability to mark timekeepers inactive. Before everybody jumps up and down and gets all excited about that, I want to be clear to let you know that doesn't change the usage of timekeeper numbers. So you still have a 5 timekeeper system or a 99 timekeeper system. It doesn't increase those numbers for your timekeeper. So, you still have to renumber them back to that old timekeeper. But it is helpful because we can go into each timekeeper, and now we have an inactive button. And we can mark them inactive so that they don't show up and aren't able to be used on fee entries, cost entries, things like that. So that is important because we don't want people putting time to somebody that they shouldn't be that's no longer there. Or if you have multiple timekeeper numbers for one timekeeper and one for certain things and another for other things, you can mark one of those inactive or not. So that is important. And it's also used on our recap of hours report. So when we come in to do the, well, I guess it's not on this one here. It goes to our recap of hours report. And on that one, it will show a box that you can exclude any of the inactives, or you can print the inactive timekeepers. So if you still need to see those hours that are outstanding, you'll have that, but it will limit what's being used on other entries. So it's still practical, but you still have the same amount of timekeeper numbers available as you did before. The other thing I'm going to tell you about is renaming contacts in PracticeMaster. They've now added, let me get back to our main screen here, they have added the rename feature back under the quick clicks. So we need to be out of the calendar. Yeah, thank you. Paul has all his little windows open in an order I'm not familiar with all the time. But on the contact list here, and actually probably want to be out on the client, I believe. I know. He's got me all messed up in here. Yeah. Oh, take action. Never mind. I've got it. Okay. A little screwed up here with his. There we go. Okay. It's back here. It's in Quick Clicks. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So when you're on the List tab, if I want to rename the contact, it's back in my Quick Clicks over here. They had removed it for a little bit, but they've brought it back. So you can just simply click on Rename Contact and do that. Now, they've also made it so it's not an exclusive task. Before, you had to have everybody out to rename contacts, and now you don't. So in 16.2, you can just come over here and click and rename contacts. Now, the other cool thing is if I do that, down here, it's got a new box that it will allow me to open that contact record after renaming it, so I can update additional fields. You know, when you rename a contact, all you have is the ID that you can rename, and then, of course, the updating the full name over here. Now we can have that open that record immediately and go change anything else we would need to, like phone numbers or things like that. So, Paul?
Me? Okay. I'm going to talk about some Quick Clicks enhancements, so I'm going to go over to the client file, which we ended up closing in our frenzy of activity there. People just aren't used to my anal retentive way of getting around PracticeMaster. And we're going to pull out the Quick Clicks pane here and pin it open. And we're going to talk about these things down here. Filters, sort by, column layout. Those things have all been pulled together into a management screen that allows us to do several things. One that's cool is we can create a folder. So we could have a folder of filters that do one thing and a folder of other filters that do another thing, and those would turn out into expandable menu items out here on this pane. Very neat, because that makes it so that you can group things together without having filter lists that take up your whole screen. Now, another thing that's neat is in filters, when you create one or edit it, you have the ability to make it apply to all users. You used to be able to do this if you knew the secret about the default user and creating the filters in the default user, but most people didn't. And even when you did, it was a big pain in the patootie to actually go and do that. Now you can create a filter, and simply by clicking this box here, it will all of a sudden show for everyone. Now, while we're in here, you'll notice that when we come into the filters, it's not going to take you right into that advanced expression editor, which actually looks like this. Instead, it takes you right into the wizard, and the wizard has been enhanced so that it's a little bit more powerful, and you can add as many rows as you need and move them up and down and use and or logic, but you still have the ability to add a very advanced, very customized, very detailed expression using this box that you were used to having. Now, another thing that's changed in this Quick Clicks is the ability to edit your column layouts. I'm going to scroll down here and show my column layouts, and I'm going to go to Manage, and look, we're actually in the same place we were just now when we were doing filters, but we're in a different part of the tree. So now all of this has been brought into the same place. So no matter whether you hit Manage Column Layouts or Manage Filters or Manage Sort Orders, you're always going to end up in the same place with the ability to do any of those things. That means you have the same ability to add folders at any level. Column layouts, sort orders, filters, really neat way to organize things and keep things less cluttered. Now, the column layout has another box that's similar, only this one lets you show for all users, and before that was the default. With filters, when you created one, it was yours. Now you can make it push out to all users. Before, with column layouts, when you created one, it was available for everyone, but now you can turn that off and say, no, I want this to be just for me. So kind of the flip side of what we're giving you as functionality in filters, we're now giving you the ability to hide column layouts from other users and have them apply only to you. If we go into Sort By, we have the ability These are actually just indexes, I'm sorry. Getting a little ahead of myself here. We have the ability to, again, organize folders so that we can have different sorts for different things and be able to expand them and decrease them. One more thing about this that I'll simply tell you, this is really a precursor to what's coming in version 17, where you'll, instead of having a filter and a column layout and a sort, you'll actually have all these things tied together. So you'll select something and it will determine what sort order, what column layout, and what filter is being applied. Very cool, because right now when you do it you have to. What that means, however, something that's been taken away that I'm hoping they'll fix before beta gets done, I am used to assigning in this screen right here what order I want, what index I want to apply, and that's no longer there. And that's because they are changing this for version 17. So now when I click on a filter, if I click on a filter that's supposed to be ordered by call date, I have to, if I click on a filter like call due that's supposed to be ordered by call date, it does not automatically change my sort by to the call date order. It would have before. And when I unclick it, it would have then automatically switched it back to alternate search. It does not anymore. So those of you who are using filters, this is something that you need to look out for. Did I get everything? The filter editor? Yes. And one other thing that we've added here, or that they've added, is the ability to show active-only clients and active-only contacts. And when you're looking at timekeepers, you're able to show active-only timekeepers, as Mary Jo had discussed. So in the past, in PracticeMaster, if you wanted to see all your active clients and not see your inactive, you had to write your own filter. Now you have these things up here that allow you to switch between all clients and active-only, still applying different filters or still applying different sort orders. It's all built in and very, very fast. Okay, Mary Jo?
Okay, I'm going to talk about our improved calendar access rights. And if any of you are out there adding new users to the system, and then you have to go into each user and you have to assign the calendar rights to each of them, and then you have to go into every single other user and then say that they have rights to that calendar too, you know what a pain that is. So they've changed this. So when I click on my calendar rights, I can now have rights to this calendar, so I can say who has rights to this user's calendar here. And then I can go over to the rights to other calendars right on that same window, and I can say that they have rights to those other calendars right here. So that is huge time saver. You don't have to go in and open each record and then give rights to that one new user that you added to everybody. They've consolidated that onto all one screen. And then it also has a button here to allow all users to edit the public, so you don't have to, and I'm a shift person, I will hit shift and then click on the bottom one and just mark them all edit private, or edit public, private, or whatever. Now you can just click the button and it will go ahead and do all the edit public, because most of the time everybody's allowed to edit the public, but they may not be allowed to browse or edit the private. So it's a little shortcut. So you can do that, or you can still use your shift key, or you can just go in and you can say who's allowed to do what and pick and choose. So that is a big feature there. The other thing that they have added, if you use toolbars and you're doing document saving or journaling or fees or anything like that in Word or Excel or Adobe, we now are going to have the WordPerfect toolbar. And I know there's still a lot of firms out there that are still using WordPerfect, and they keep asking, when do we get our toolbar? So there is a toolbar now that will be available in 16.2. For WordPerfect. It will not have the document coding feature that we have for Word document assembly. That is still going to be just for Word, but you will be able to have a WordPerfect toolbar to go ahead and save, bill, or calendar items. So that will be there. The other thing is the conflict of interest search results. I'm not really going to do one or go there, but usually when you would get your results back, it would have just all random orders in there. They've changed that so that now the most recently modified record will be at the top of your list. So you'll get the most current results back at the top. So, Paul?
Okay, and I'm going to show you something here by opening up my eNotify, which is a Platinum feature, and going into my list of eNotes and ordering by date. And let's get back up here, pull up something recent. not old. Here we go. What they've done is they've added the information when you tag a record. This particular e-note is pointing to a certain calendar record. So it's a note that Mary Jo sent to me about a certain task that she had performed, and it's linked to this calendar record, so I can go straight to it. That's all been there before, but they've enhanced and expanded the amount of information that they're tagging automatically into the e-note, so that without even opening the record, you can tell what date, what client that calendar item was for, what the description was. These things weren't all in there before, and they've added different fields for the different types of records that you can tag: document records, fee costs, journal records. All these records now have additional fields that identify what's going on, or what record has been tagged to. Okay, Mary Jo?
Okay. I'm going to go back into Tabs, and we're going to talk about reprinting statements. Most of you have gone in and have been able to reprint a single updated statement. And if you come up here underneath the Statements tab, you'll see that there's also a reprint multiple updated statement. Some of you may know that there, some may not. I do come across people that didn't know they could do multiples for more than one client. But the problem in the past has been you only had one statement date, so you didn't have a range. You had to remember when that statement was updated, or you wouldn't be able to come in here and reprint multiple for clients. So if you weren't doing all of your statements on August 15th and you did some on the 16th, you'd miss out. So now they've made it a range. So I could come in here and say I want all the statements that were dated, August 1st through August 31st, and then I can do a client range, and then I can go and I can print those, reprint those statements. Now we also have the option down here when we reprint to also do PDFs as individual statements. So when you're doing this group of statements and reprinting, you have that option now. So that is huge. I don't know about you, but I always would forget the date that I had updated a statement. So that is good. The other thing that I'm going to talk about just really quickly, they've added an AR report for Working Timekeeper. And I know a lot of people want to get that AR by Working Timekeeper, not by primary or secondary or originating. So now they've added that report that you'll be able to run that. And Paul and I will talk more about that report in another session, but just know that that's out there now, and they are going to have that available for you.
Okay, I'm going to switch back over here, and we're going to go in and pretend we're adding a fee. And we're going to type something in here. And this has been there. If you hold down the Control key and scroll your mouse scroll bar, you will be increasing the size of this font. What hasn't been there is that this will now stick. So if on your machine you have trouble reading it and you come in here to the fee entry window and you make it this big, when you come back in to fee entry or to a fee screen, it will continue to be that big until you change it back. So a minor change that has huge benefit for people that, like me, find that they're getting older and having trouble seeing certain things on their screen. Another thing that's not huge but can be consequential is that the date picker now has 6 weeks instead of 4. And also there's an ability, if you've gotten over here and you say, oh, no, I just want to go back to today, you can now have a button that you click that takes you back to wherever today is. Not huge, but kind of neat. So 2 things that'll help you out there. Mary Jo?
Okay. I feel like I get a lot of the cool ones here, or at least the ones that are very helpful, I think. But I'm going to talk about the reconciliation report. We all know that if you don't print it, or you don't print it to a file and something happens, you've lost that ability to get that report back. So they have now added a reconciliation report place that stores all those reports for you, so you actually can now go back and you can reprint those reports. They're under here under reconciliation reports. Go in here and it has a list of all of the reconciliation that have happened, and you can go into any one of those and reprint that report out again. So little thing, but a big thing. So that's a good one. And then the other thing that I'm going to talk about is fast access mode. Now, some of you may not know what that is or may never have used it. I find it's one of those things that sometimes gets turned on, and people are like, what is that? Why is this stopping me from doing this? It keeps saying fast access mode is on and I've not touched anything, well, they're sunsetting that. They're getting rid of it. So it used to be under here. Actually, it's not even in here anymore. On here, I don't think we have it in 16.2, so it's been sunsetted, but it used to be fast access mode was in here, and it would have a checkbox in front of it that would say it was on, and that's only allowing so many people to be in, and it's supposed to speed things up, and it really didn't.
And it never sped anything up.
Yeah.
Nobody ever knew how they got it turned on, yes.
So it's gone, and that is all I have, and Paul is going to tell you about Tabs3 Connect.
Now, she said that she got all the good things, but the reason she got all the good things is because I got this. And I am going to go over here. Did we close it, Mary Jo? We must have closed it. Well, we're going to go over here. And we're going to pretend we're on a machine that doesn't even have our copy of Tabs on it. We're out at a Starbucks, and we're on an iPad, or an Android tablet, or an iPhone, or an Android phone, or we're at our computer at home. I don't care. And we're going to tabs3connect.com, and we're going to log in with our email address. And our password. And look at that. We now have direct live access to the Matter Manager, clients, contacts, calendar, costs, and fees. Now this is a biggie, but this is pretty big too, and contacts and calendar are pretty big too. Now I know the first thing people are thinking, wow, contacts and calendar, I don't need to sync my phone anymore. Well, this is very cool because when you go to the calendar, you don't have access just to yours. You have access to whoever's in the system. That's something you can't do on your phone. And when you go to contacts, you don't just have your contacts, but you also have access to all contacts. So if we're looking for Smith & Brooker in Bay City, and we do it right, let's just say Brooker. I don't know whether they use an ampersand or an and, so I'm not going to waste time searching twice. There they are. There's Karen, and then there's the firm record. So with contacts in Tabs3 Connect, you have access not just to your contacts that would be synced through your phone, but also to the contacts that fill up the entire contact part of your PracticeMaster back at the office. You might have 20,000 contacts in PracticeMaster, but you might only have 200 that are set to sync to your phone if you're syncing to your Outlook and to your phone at all. Now, again, the calendar is not just yours, but yours and whoever you want. And you'll notice with the drop-downs that they've done a very good job of containing and retaining the look and feel of exactly how PracticeMaster functions within a web browser type environment. So you're wondering, why would I still want to sync? Well, there are times when you don't have access to your phone. Your phone doesn't have access to the internet. Your iPad doesn't have access to the internet. Some courts block cell signals so that you don't have that information at all, but you could still get to your contacts and calendar in the courtroom that didn't have internet if you were syncing to your phone. The other is the inherent native application usage. If you have your contacts in your phone, then there are times when you'll be able to text to them very easily. You'll be able to identify incoming calls from them very easily. However, these two things together make a very powerful tool. Now, another thing that's in the Tabs3 Connect, the ability to add fees. And you'll notice, well, maybe you won't, the last client that I had up was Scooby-Doo, and the minute I hit fees, it says, okay, he wants to add a fee for Scooby-Doo probably, and I'm going to assume today's date, and you'll notice it doesn't even have a place for my timekeeper because my user has been tied to my timekeeper in Tabs. And since Scooby is a task-based, it's asking for phase task, hours worked, and description. And that's all there is to it. It's very streamlined. Didn't like the fact that there was no phase or task, so it tells me. I'm going to actually, since I'm going to back out of this, I'm going to go ahead and do this for a different client because I don't have any task code set up for my system. I picked a bad client to do this with. Now, when I go and drop down a client ID, it pulls up my most recent matters. So I'm going to go to Attorney Computers Non-Billable. I'm going to use a T code. I'm going to put hours worked at 1, and I'm going to say test, delete, and I'm going to save it. Very, very streamlined. I don't need to identify the timekeeper. I don't need to do anything but identify what I did and how much I want to bill for it. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to, while this is saving, and I'm a little confused because it doesn't normally take this long to save. I don't know if I have these icons here, even though not fully illuminated. The one on the left, it looks like, and I think that may be a function of actually a GoToMeeting rather than Tabs3 Connect. So that is Tabs3 Connect in a nutshell. I will say that it's designed to run in both a tablet and a phone. So there's a phone view that's designed to be narrower, and there's a tablet view that's designed to be wider. I will also say that since I entered the beta test phase with Tabs3 Connect, I have not used my computer on the road. Many of you know that I spend about 3 days a week on average out on the road living from hotel rooms. And of course, I would do a lot of work on my notebook computer in the mornings when I would do that. I have not used my notebook computer in a hotel room in about 3 months. With Tabs3 Connect's functionality, it's given me enough to do all the things that I need to do when it comes to running attorney computer systems and being a legal technologist on the road without having to have access to PracticeMaster, and I think that says a lot about its capabilities. Now, we will go into great detail on all of these things, particularly Tabs3 Connect, particularly the detail AR by Working Timekeeper, and certain other things as people suggest in other water cooler sessions. But that's what we wanted to do today, was give you a kind of a quick view of what's coming. I know that I've heard that they want to have it out in the fall, and I think they're pushing to have it released in a couple months. But keep in mind, if you want to be a beta tester, all you need to do is send me an email, paul.purdue, like the school, not the chicken, P-U-R-D-U-E, paul.purdue@attorneycomputersystems.com, and we will be sure to get you signed up as a beta tester and make it very easy for you to do this. They have not had any bit of trouble with the program. We've certainly they've never had anybody lose data by being a beta tester. We like to kid around here that the beta test versions of PracticeMaster and Tabs are usually more stable than programs like Time Slips and Time Matters and PC Law put out as regular versions, and that's been pretty true over the years. So if you want to do that, let us know. Otherwise, these sorts of things will be coming your way in about 2 months. Leanne, do we have any questions?
No questions, Paul.
No questions. That either means everybody fell asleep or we did a very good job of explaining. So Mary Jo, I think we'll go with the latter, and we'll say we did a very good job of explaining. So everybody have a good month, and we will see you next month. We have not picked topics, but I have a feeling they're going to be those two that I just mentioned, a detailed look at Tabs3 Connect and a more detailed look at the Working Timekeeper report in version 16. We may throw one other thing in there because depending on, I did get a little more time to go into Tabs3 Connect today than I thought we would. So we shall see. We, of course, will let you know what our topics are the Thursday before. Everybody have a good day, good rest of the month, and we'll see you next month. Thanks much.